You may have realized that being healthy feels different than it did in the past now that you're over 50. If you want to maximize your health potential but don't have time to read through overwhelming pages of Google links, this is the show for you. Welcome to Healthy Tips After 50. We love doing the research, finding solutions, talking to health experts, and learning what works and what doesn't. Now, your host. She spent the last 25 years dedicated to feeling her best and is here to share her best findings with you. Susan Rosen.
Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosen. And I have a guest who has not been on before. And her name is Beth Sandlin. And she is actually talking about something that we haven't talked about much on this program. One of which is Pilates. And I'm going to let her explain all of that. But anyways, welcome, Beth. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks so much for having me on today, Susan. I'm so thrilled to be here. So I began my Pilates journey in my early 20s, and it was about a year after I had experienced cancer and I went into full remission from cancer. I started going back to the gym for a workout shortly after that experience with cancer. And in college, I just came across a Pilates class. I really enjoyed it. It felt kind of similar to what we were doing with my gym workouts, but there was something also very intriguing and unique about it because it offers just exercises sometimes in the fuller range of motion. There's a lot of work we do laying down onto our backs and well inside and other positions that sometimes we don't get in a gym workout. And I was motivated then to become a Pilates teacher and now have been teaching Pilates for over 20 years. So it's seen myself through a lot of different life stages, my 20s and 30s, all through pregnancy. And now as I'm transitioning to that mid 40s and looking forward to actually turning 50, I have 5 more years to go, how it's going to support me as I'm getting older and the benefits of movement for being able to stay agile and engaging with kids. And for a lot of my clients, it's moving and taking care of their grandkids. So that's really a stage that I like to focus on, is that Pilates can support us at any single time. And the spectrum ranges from sometimes people come right out of physical therapy and then they go into a Pilates class. And other times it purely is an amazing workout that's something a little bit more challenging. So it's really diverse in that aspect. And that's one thing that I've really appreciated.
Yeah. No, I'm sure. And it's interesting. I'm sure it probably would be interesting to the people listening if you give them a little short history kind of Pilates and where it came from and why it's called Pilates. And
I would love to. So Pilates was created by Joseph Pilates. When he invented the exercises and the method, he did not actually call it Pilates. It was controlology, because he really had the notion that our mind should be in control of our body. And there is this body, mind, spirit element that we are actually just starting to understand at a deeper level. From Western medicine perspective, we know it's been so disconnected, like mind is different from body, yet there is an integration of body and mind. And one of the examples is if we're not used to working out, what happens is we get caught in this path of I'm tired, so I just want to sit after a long day of like not doing anything. But that repetitive cycle just enables more of feeling tired and not having a lot of energy. What we know about movement is it actually helps with so many areas of our life. It gives us energy when the workouts are just in the right amount. The Pilates system itself is about mobility, flexibility, balance, strengthening, and how we move with the exercises. Well, I always suggest that it's focusing on what you're currently doing compared to where you want to be. So for someone, for instance, who goes to the gym and they are really focusing on strength training, well, we're going to round that out with a Pilates practice of more mobility, stretching, and balance. For someone maybe who is working on cardiovascular work, walking or riding a bike or otherwise, then maybe we want to complement and have some more strengthening work in there as well, because there's many different elements of physical fitness, 5 in total. And what we know is for a well-rounded workout program is, especially as we age, these become really important for our longevity and how we're feeling. They reduce risk of injury and falls. And so that's really why for a lot of people who I work with, why they come to the Pilates mat, because they notice their energy shifts. And it's just a really nice way to move their body that doesn't feel harsh. That's one of the main elements I feel that people who are over the age of 50 who I work with, why they either have stayed with Pilates for so many years or why they're starting it for the first time is because the workouts that they used to do when they were younger just don't feel like they're going to benefit them in the same way. They don't feel good. In fact, I was just speaking with someone yesterday who said she has arthritis in her knee and their doctor said, no more high intensity interval training workouts, that like CrossFit style workout is not going to be beneficial for you. And so she's coming to Pilates because she's wanting to still work on strength to complement what she likes to do, walking, but she knows that that strength building is very important for her.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Excuse me. Yeah, I think it's especially for women and those of us that are over 50 and over 60, almost 70, that you have to, number one, you have to change things because your body changes. And if you keep doing the same thing you've always done, I don't want to say it doesn't work. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? It's like anything else in life. You have to change things to work with where you are and not where you were, not keep doing the same thing. And I think that's something a lot of people don't realize, men and as well, actually.
Right. It's really easy to get stuck in kind of the same either repetitive path of what we've already done. And I think what's really beautiful for a lot of people who, as we're getting older, is we actually start tuning into the wisdom of our body. But sometimes what happens is the messages we've heard is, if you don't feel good, that just means you shouldn't exercise at all. Like we aren't really told all the options. And what we know is that a common saying, like, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. That's actually really true when it comes to our bodies. It's not so much that we're getting older, why, we see decrease or decline in strength and balance and bone density and all these other elements. It's because we aren't engaging in physical activity. And again, it may not be physical activity that we were doing in our 20s, 30s, or even 5 months ago. It could be something a little bit different. And what's really beautiful now is that studies actually validate no matter someone's age, even people in their 90s can see strength gains. People who have osteopenia or osteoporosis, with the right combination of workouts and an exercise program, actually their bone density can increase. So it really is never too late to start. And never too late, as you were saying, to make a pivot or a change. And I always suggest focusing on maybe a slow, gradual change is going to be more sustainable. It's tuning into what is going to be optimal for us. So rather than maybe an hour-long workout, maybe we're going to try a different type of workout, and we're going to shorten that to 30 minutes, 20, 10 minutes, depending upon what someone has time for, what your energy level is right now. And these small incremental adjustments are so much more sustainable and so much more valuable than feeling like we just have to do that really long workout or nothing at all.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, and I think the other thing that impacts that a lot is people's time. I mean, if they're still working full time or doing something else, taking care of somebody or whatever it is, it may be that on a particular day they've got an hour. It may be on another day they only have 15 minutes. And so you kind of have to find out what will work with your schedule, because you don't have to always do the same thing every time you work out. I think that's 100%. The one thing.
And for those of you who are maybe more that type A, my husband is like that. It took him many years to have this more flexible approach, because he was trying to have, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, it's always going to be the hour long. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, it's going to be this. but our life is impacted by so many elements. As you were saying, working full time. For a lot of people I work with who have transitioned to that retirement phase, there's this like window where maybe they have a little bit more time freedom, but then inevitably something else gets layered on. Someone I know really well right now. Now she's taking care of her grandbaby a few times a week, and that's really impacted her practice. She's back to, well, how do I fit this in that I'm caring for an infant again? But she knows that movement is so valuable. And so we may have not only days that have more time than others, but periods of our life, we may have more time freedom. And in that time, it's like a luxury. I kind of think of it as like, oh my gosh, I have the luxury to do these longer length workouts. But I agree with you that many times it is focusing on a shorter class, because that's just what makes sense and what can be really helpful for people who maybe don't have as much time, or they're working full time, their schedule's full, whether they're helping out their kids or their parents, kind of that sandwich generation that we experience sometimes, is breaking up our workout. So maybe it's something short in the morning. We sprinkle in something in the afternoon. If you have an hour-long lunch break, when I used to work 40 hours a week, many times my lunch break, I would take about 30 minutes to work out, and then the other half to eat, because that's also really important. And then unwinding from the workday can be really valuable, again, with a shorter session, sometimes something a little bit longer. So tuning into those rhythms can be a really profound way to be more consistent and also have variety in your workout program, which is really beneficial for the body.
No, exactly. I'm going to close my blind because very soon it's going to be right here. Okay, at least that's one closed. We'll see when it gets to the other one. But it's also coming right through where the
that little like opening.
Because they're blinds, where you turn the thing and so they're anyways, it's because we changed time. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So I so appreciate what you're saying, because I know just through my own life, sometimes it was like, it was running 3 miles or something, right? Sometimes it was, oh God, I can hardly drag myself out of bed, because I was working so much. And we all go through periods that, and I use the word loosely here, because particularly for women, there's that time of month as well that can be just, it's like, oh God, I can't get up in the morning kind of thing. But it is interesting. I like the fact that you essentially are telling people that there's something out there for you if you actually take some time and look for it.
100%. And I always think about how we were when we were kids, or what we encourage our children or even grandchildren to do, and that is experiment. If you don't like playing basketball, okay, well, let's try baseball. That doesn't fit. Okay, let's try soccer. No, dance. There are so many options. And with kids, we're constantly enrolling them in different activities until they kind of find their secret sauce, what they like. And it's like, as soon as we turn, I don't know, maybe for me, I got really embarrassed in middle school because I actually was not good at working out. I'm not an athlete at all. And so I just stopped moving in that way. And I came to a point when I was 19 where I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded. And I realized, oh, that's not great, especially since I want to try hiking. I need to have some baseline of physical conditioning to be able to do that. So I have energy to not only go hiking, but just simply walk up a flight of stairs and feel good doing that. And so that's really my connection to why. And I encourage people to find something and try a new activity. For me, I'll share something personal here, is I just enrolled in a tap class for the first time since I
Oh,
was
wow.
10 years old.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like, you know what? I used to sign up my kids for dance. It is time to sign up myself for dance class and try something new. And what's really fun about tap classes, I am noticing how it complements what I'm doing on the Pilates mat. It's definitely working balance. It's working coordination. And what research studies have showed us is that learning new skills is really helpful, not only for our body, but for our brain development
Absolutely.
as well, that neuroplasticity. And sure,
Yep.
is there a learning curve to this? Yes. Am I getting everything perfectly right now? 100% no, but I'm enjoying the activity and flap a tapping, at least once a week.
That's great. That's great. I love it. I love it. Yes. God, it brings back so many memories. I took a tap and dance class when I was, oh God, I don't even know, high school, junior high, maybe. Yeah. Wow. Huh. Oof. That was a long, 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 long time ago. My goodness. Yeah, it really is kind of funny how and what people get involved in, and what sometimes can just be a lifelong thing that they do. And sometimes it's okay, excuse me, we'll do it now, but 10 years from now, on to something else, right?
Right. And that's what we also see, or I've noticed with a lot of people who move with Pilates. There's I've been moving with Pilates for over 20 years now. Some people I work with have been moving with it even longer than that. They started when I was in elementary school because they're older than I am. And then I work with other clients and people who participate in Trifecta Pilates where it is brand new to them. And they are starting this because their friend told them, or they've heard it was beneficial. Maybe their doctor said something. And so it just always goes into, it's never too late to start something new. And also let's look back over our past and what have we enjoyed doing? Was it dance class? Maybe you tried Pilates in the past and you like that and you want to reconnect with it. There's so many options. And I encourage people to find the one that not only is beneficial for their body, but what really lights them up. Like what is most motivating? So if we're thinking, I have to go on a cycling and I just have to get on my bike and ride. Well, let's mix up that cardiovascular part of physical activity and try something else. Maybe it's a dance class. What I've actually seen come back in the past few years is step aerobics. And I mean, how is doing step aerobics?
God, really?
Right? Way back in the day. And the beautiful thing about step aerobics is you actually don't need a step if you're thinking, like that up and down from a step isn't beneficial. You can follow the same routine with no step whatsoever. And it's very similar to tap in the sense that it has a rhythm that we are trying to follow. We're learning a routine. Okay. And what I've noticed that, again, that's really awesome and amazing for balance. And it mixes up the cardio a little bit. So I always encourage people to find activities that they really enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there's so many more choices now as well, with so much gone online. And I know you said you're doing some online as well.
Yes. And I'll speak to both of those. And that is sometimes with choices, people get like, oh my gosh, there's just so many options. And it starts to feel overwhelming.
Yes.
And I like to offer a different perspective that there's options because we really want to encourage people to find what they really resonate with. And if you come across something and you're like, no, I don't want to do that. Amazing. Now you know what not to focus on and you can just try something else. I liken it to, like, imagine for dinner one night you have spaghetti. We just had that last night. And so you think, I'm going to have spaghetti every single night for dinner. Well, sure, you could do that, but most of us would get really bored of that. We would say, I don't feel like doing that anymore. And with food, we don't say, we lack motivation, or I just don't feel like I ever want to eat again. No, we just find something else that we're in the mood for at that time. And a lot of times it's going to benefit us and nourish us. And so there's different options to help us understand what we're in the mood for. And I 100% really love moving at home, working out at home. Some people love going to the gym. I realized for me, as soon as I had kiddos, that working out at home was just more convenient. Once I got a full-time job, even more so, it's like, I don't have time to go to the gym. So I'm going to just work out at home. And that really was my motivation to open up Trifecta Pilates. I have a YouTube option, and then more, I would say, well-rounded workouts and workout plans within the membership and app, because it's quite honestly where I have been most successful and most consistent with my workout programs is going down into my basement. I know not everyone has a basement, but for other people, it's in their living room, in their bedroom. Some people have like a beautiful sun porch and they go outside on their sun porch and move with Pilates. It's so amazing that it can complement, maybe if you like going to the gym to lift weights, that, or it can really be a well-rounded workout program as well.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think as well that, somewhat what you're saying as well, which is that people they pigeonhole themselves because it's easier. They know how to do that. They can go do it. It'll take them half an hour, and they can come home and get on with their lives. And it really is better for us overall to be doing different things. And that works for everything in life, not just exercising.
And this is something that actually we were just talking about within the membership after one of our workouts that I was teaching, about how to manage that, kind of the favorite classes that people have within the membership and app compared to new programs that I'm releasing and new classes, how to balance that. And my suggestion is you primarily want to focus on, if you already have a workout program that you're doing, do that. And then figure out, out of what you're doing, what are maybe other elements that could really complement that. So for instance, if someone has a really consistent walk that they do almost every single day, that's amazing for our cardiovascular health. We would want to look at rounding that out with more strengthening Pilates classes and maybe some complementary stretches as well. And what's beautiful, a lot of Pilates workouts combine strength, balance, flexibility, mobility. Some have a slightly different combination than others. But just to round that out a little bit. And alternatively, for people who maybe have a consistent strength training program, because let's face it, in the past 5 to 10 years, there's been more information, particularly for women. Don't worry about cardio, just focus on strength training. That's really important for muscular mass and bone density. And although it is really important, I don't want people just to forget about cardio. It's what is that combination that's best for people? So if someone is really focusing on strengthening, what we've realized is if they're just doing more traditional strength training and not rounding that out with full range of motion for body and mobility, all of a sudden they feel stiffer and their joints don't feel as good. And it feels like getting up off the floor is more challenging, or balance feels a little bit more precarious. And so we would want to round that out with sessions focusing more on not just stretching, but mobility work. And that's really where Pilates shines, is that it's not so much of a passive stretch, but moving through the body. And it's really beneficial in that way. And my number one recommendation is, no matter what we're doing, it is going to take time. What we know with workouts is that quick fixes don't work. And what I love working with people who do have more wisdom, like they've been through it maybe, and they know not only do quick fixes not work, but it doesn't feel good in our body, is that for workouts to be beneficial, this is for years. And this can either feel like, oh my gosh, I have to do this for years. And it only feels that way when we're doing things we don't like. Or it could be, I have the opportunity to keep experimenting and trying. And where this is really liberating, if you have an off week because you were really busy or going on vacation, or a month, or even maybe for the past few years, your workouts haven't been as consistent as you wanted them to be, you know that you can start tomorrow. You can start next month, and it's going to be beneficial. So it kind of takes the pressure off of, oh my gosh, I have to, every day work out, or every week has to be very consistent. For a well-rounded workout program, we actually want to look at every 3 to 4 months, taking some time off is really good for the body to restore before going into another phase where we are challenging the body again.
Okay. I didn't realize that. That's good information to have. Yeah.
It really is. And what I've found to be really helpful is if you're planning on taking vacation, or we know, for instance, around the holidays, usually people's workouts, we're not going to work out as consistently. It could even be just, we're going to keep working out, but maybe it's shorter workouts, is that we think of, okay, what is our holidays coming up? Or what vacations are we taking? What time do we know we have to take off? And we use that as a benchmark, and we go back from that. Okay, so I know in 3 months, I'm going to take a week, I'm going to take 2 weeks off for a vacation or Christmas holiday, whatever it may be. And I'm going to take that time off with no guilt whatsoever. And what I encourage people to do after they take that time off, and then they come back to their workouts, just notice, do you have more energy to do your walk, to do your strength, to do your Pilates classes?
Right.
If the answer is yes, that is really the value of continuing to incorporate intentionally so breaks from a more consistent practice.
Which makes a lot of sense. I mean, the can't think of what the right word is, but that really applies to pretty much everything in life. I mean, it's not, well, even work. I mean, they give you some vacation, right? To go off and do something else for a little while and then come back and be happier to be at work.
Exactly. So that motivation increases. Maybe we work more optimally with other people. We are just in a better place to work. And also, we can pair that and take that same perspective into what we're doing with our workouts.
Right. Exactly. So, okay. So tell us a little more about your online program and how all of that works, and so people have a feel for whether they want to try it out or not.
Yeah, I would love to share. So I really like to meet people where they are in their life and in their Pilates practice. And one of the reasons why is because I've experienced not only cancer, but other things through my life where I had to really recover and get back in to working out. And sometimes when we're getting back in to working out, it can feel like, I'm starting all over again. Someone reframed this for me who's part of the membership, and she goes, I get to start new again. And I thought, what a beautiful perspective. And it's one of the reasons why in the membership we have a Pilates for Beginners program. Even before that, a foundations program. So it goes over different body positions and really the foundational level basics. So they're going to set someone up for success so that we are moving optimally in our body. And that's really what we're looking at with Pilates, is not pushing or powering through and like grimacing. It's not that type of workout. It's how do we work the right areas of our body so we can move more efficiently. And that's really what we want, especially as we're getting older. In addition, then we have shorter classes to longer length classes. There's different workout programs to follow. I already mentioned 2, but for instance, like a level 1. So when someone has a really good foundation, then they go up just a little bit with that level. And what I eventually encourage people to do within the membership is to start moving more intuitively with their workouts. And this innately happens if workouts are new, like maybe Pilates is new, over the course of like a year or so. If someone has been moving with Pilates more consistently, it's easier because they kind of know what they like and what their body responds to. So there is a learning curve to that. And that's why within the app, people are able to schedule their own classes. So say Monday, you want your focus to be on walking. Well, perhaps you're going to complement that with a short stretch session after your walk, just to kind of loosen things up after you walked. And on Tuesday is going to be more of a Pilates focused day. So you're going to do a longer Pilates workout that focuses on strength and more mobility, less of just taking deep breaths and more of a restorative class of stretching. So you schedule that out. And I encourage people, if they really like to schedule out workouts, go week by week rather than thinking about the entire month. And you can apply this whether you join the membership or not. So on Sunday, for instance, when you glance over your week, we kind of have a feel of those days that are going to be busier compared to not as busy. I would also encourage people to start noticing the rhythms of when they have higher energy compared to lower energy. So in those higher energy days, which for me is Monday, well, I'm going to pair that with more challenging Pilates classes. And Wednesday, I always kind of go into a little slump. It's like midweek, I need a little reset. So it's a gentle walk usually and a more restorative Pilates class. I'm still moving my body, which feels amazing. I'm working a different element of physical conditioning. And then that gives me energy to end my week. So that's just 2 examples. And for some people, they like having that consistency. And you can keep with the same workout program for 4 to 6 weeks. After that time, you may want to add some variety. Other people, like after 1 week, they want to do something a little bit different the next week. And again, that's just going to really tune into what you like to do. Is it that more, I like the same rhythm, or do I want a little bit more variety? I kind of think of it like meal planning. For me, I go off my meal plans. They're kind of consistent, but I like to have some variety in there as well. Otherwise, it's back to that spaghetti example. It just feels like I'm eating the same thing over and over again. And it's like, I don't know what to do. So that's really the value of looking ahead, taking just a little bit of time to plan, and then you just get to press play on the workout and move with the class that is going to be really amazing for your body.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wow. So out of curiosity, because I haven't, just from personal questioning here, do you have certain, let's see, we're doing it online. Do you suggest that people use a bigger screen, that they, in order to really get the most out of it, right?
Oh, I love this question
people
so
using
much.
their phones, I just, I can't see that. But
yeah, I love this question, because this is actually sometimes people are like, I'm just on my little phone or just on the teeny tiny, iPad. I can't really see you. I would say it depends where someone is in their awareness of their body and their Pilates practice. That when we're just learning, sometimes that visual representation is incredibly helpful, because when I say like press your feet down into the mat and let your pelvis and spine curl up, at first your brain may think, what is she saying? Or if I say pelvic curl, maybe you don't know the language I'm using yet for different exercises that most likely you may have already moved with in other exercise, other types of workouts. Like pelvic curl is just a different way to say bridge exercise. We're just moving through the spine in a different way in Pilates to get up and down. So at first, it may be helpful to have something a little bit larger. What some people do is I have like exercise tutorials. So for instance, someone comes to like the teaser exercise and like, I'm having a really hard time understanding the teaser, or my hips are really working, like I just can't do it. They can watch a brief tutorial of how to do that. And that doesn't need to be like a workout. It's under 5 minutes. I give different options. It says one option, or feet down, or use a band. And I encourage people to choose the option that's best for them. So they know every time they come back to that more traditional teaser exercise, if they don't want to do the fuller expression, or if it's not beneficial for them, they have an alternative. But what I really encourage people to start doing is to ignore me on the video. want to move exactly like me. You want to move with what's going to be most beneficial. So once you know the movement, and this is exactly how I move when I move with other people's workouts, because I do step aerobics. So I'm following someone on video and I just have a little iPad. I kind of get the routine down and then I just ignore and I just listen. They're just in the background. And this is so valuable. Recently, I taught a live class. So within the membership, there are live classes that people can attend in real time. And I had a little crick in my neck. And so I was like, I cannot actually teach the class and do it at the same time because it will not be beneficial. And so I taught it in a slightly more traditional way. And that was, I sat down in my studio space, everyone who was there, I talked them through the exercises. And afterwards, someone made a comment, I so appreciated that because I was less concerned with trying to match what you were doing and more focusing on what was the option that made sense for me. So that's really my recommendation. Learn the exercises. And then if you have a little phone, that's just fine. You can quickly look at, what does she mean by start circling your leg? Look really quickly and then just go back to how does that experience feel? So that's my recommendation. Even when, for instance, maybe someone likes to go to the gym and do the group classes. So I used to work at a university and they had group fitness classes that I would attend on my lunch hour. And I would oftentimes look at what the instructor was doing and then do a different variation, even if they didn't tell me to do that, because I just knew from moving with Pilates for so long, where my edge was when it was just the right amount, not too little, but not too much, where I started straining. And so many times the movement teachers appreciated that I was doing an alternative because I was listening to what I needed. So I really encourage people to do that as well.
Yeah. that can be difficult for people to do.
It is difficult. And I've noticed, especially, so I'm 45. For those of us, I would say 45 or older, we were taught very young age, just follow the teacher, do exactly like they do, and you're good to go. And that works sometimes, but now we know that sometimes that doesn't feel so good. I can't tell you how many people, they knew what they were doing in an exercise class or something else wasn't quite right, but they just kind of stuck with it because it was the quote unquote right way to do it. And they ended up injuring themselves, or they just stopped because it was like, no, I can't do that anymore. It's too challenging. So it's kind of that sometimes all or nothing mentality that we have been told, or just keep pushing with your workouts. That's how it's going to be beneficial. And what we actually know is the customization and personalization is going to be what is most valuable. Of course, people can work with like a personal trainer, a Pilates teacher, one-on-one. And at the same time, for people who maybe don't have the time luxury for those full length sessions, or they don't have the resources for a private like that, a one-on-one session, you can still learn this on your own as long as you take the time to start with a foundation program. Move slowly. And that's one of the reasons why I really like to incorporate a blended option within the membership and app. It's not just videos that you can follow, but you can also engage with me in real time. And for people who can't attend the sessions in real time, there's a question form. So I have a lot of people submitting questions via a form. So I can still answer their question that not only benefits them, but every single time that I answer a question, for people who have been in the membership with me for years, they continue to watch the entire call, even if they don't have a question, because they know it's going to be of value to them as well. It's that like shared learning community, which is so beautiful.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. That's great. So how many, just out of curiosity, how many people usually are, when you do your live,
This is one of the perks, I would say, of the membership. Even though thousands of people engage in the membership, typically for the live sessions, we're around the 20 to 30 mark. So it really can be personal, and people can ask me questions. And for a a long time I was wondering, well, why is that? Like the live sessions people aren't coming to, but after speaking with so many people in the membership, they're in a membership for a reason, because live sessions many times don't work for them. Like that, the
They
videos
need
do.
the flexibility.
They need the flexibility, but most people in the membership will still move with or watch the replay, depending upon, is it just a workout or is it a workout combo with the Q&A session, because it's still another chance to move. And that's just so amazing. And I try to alternate the times of the live sessions, because I do have people here in the United States who, you know, it's just a quick time zone difference of like maybe 2 hours or an hour. But there's also people who are in Europe and Australia. And if I just stick with the same time, many times you're sleeping. So I try to rotate it from that perspective, trying to get, you know, different people who are part of the membership so they can attend in real time if they can. Though I've also talked to people who like, I love the live sessions, I just never want to be there in real time. And that's what's beautiful, is not only do we have more options for how people can work out and what Pilates can do, but more ways in which they can engage with it, whether it's going to a Pilates studio or doing a virtual option like Trifecta Pilates out of the comfort of your own home, or take me on vacation with you, you know?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's that's interesting. So do you have different levels of membership, or does it go by hours? And, you know, how does that work?
I keep it as simple as possible. So
That's
the only levels that we have are levels of classes. And that's just to help people, especially if you're brand new, don't try a level 3 class right away. Stick with the beginning, level 1. We'll slowly get you up maybe to level 2 as you learn more about your body and Pilates. And for anyone who has an advanced Pilates practice, you know how important the beginning and level 1 work is, no matter how long you've been moving with Pilates, because that's the foundation for our more challenging practice. So I keep it simple, whether you choose the monthly enrollment plan, which you can stop at any time, or the annual plan, which gives you over 2 months for free, you get the same access. We keep that cost as low as possible. So it's, the monthly plan is $30 for the entire month, which when you think about a Pilates session in person, a group session is usually at least $25 for one session. So it really is an amazing value, because you can just move with Pilates whenever you want, download the workouts. If you go on vacation and take them with you on vacation, maybe it will be the more restorative classes. But I know a lot of people that I work with, they travel for work. And so they like to continue moving their body when they travel for work, because that is so consistent for them. And they like to have a consistency in their workout program. And what they do many times is just roll out a towel in their hotel room floor and move with their Pilates practice. And that's one of the benefits of Pilates. You can do it with no equipment whatsoever, or we can use simple equipment that people already have, like a chair, wall, couch, even table. We really use what you already have at your home.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. Excuse me, I'm got a tickle in my throat. And particularly because you can do it on your own time, right? And how you're feeling and all that kind of stuff.
And I do encourage people to lean into, how are they feeling before, during, and after a workout. So on those lower energy days, maybe you want to ease into a workout experience. So you're going to start maybe with a shorter session. You're going to check in, is that just enough for today? Or for a lot of people, what they realize once they press play on a short session, their energy level starts to shift and respond to the workout. That's what I mean, just research shows us our body will start to respond. They press play on another workout. And all of a sudden now, if they had the time, they are feeling better to move a little bit longer. If you're feeling amazing during a workout, great. And if you're feeling good after the workout, amazing. Next time you can turn up the dial of intensity as an option, or you keep it right where it is. On the other hand, if maybe during a workout, you're not feeling like, I'm just not getting into this workout, the beautiful thing is You can press pause on the workout at any time. You can go to a different workout or just stop altogether. All are valuable options. Sometimes when we're in an in-person experience, we don't feel like we have the autonomy, but it's still just as important to practice. And what I've noticed, especially for people who are getting back into working out, and I've been there where my body and mind remembered what I used to be able to do, but because I was coming from a point of restarting my workouts, I was choosing workouts that were too long and too challenging. And I noticed my system was crashing. It was so bad. I went to the doctor. It's like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why is this happening? Nothing was wrong. My blood work was beautiful. Must be so healthy, the doctor said. And I broke out in tears because that wasn't my experience. Like what I was able to do in the past, I could no longer do. And what that doctor wasn't an expert on was how to actually give me a program to build back up my strength. And what I had to do in my mind, and I did this very quickly on the way home from my doctor's office to my house, was I realized the state that I was in, even though I didn't recently experience cancer, it was like I did because I was so deconditioned. And I had to build back up incredibly slowly. And I started with a short 5-minute walk, followed by a short 5-minute stretch session. And I was good with that. And I made sure after the class that I did, and the next day I was feeling good. And I did that for about a week. And then the next week, I just turned up my length and intensity just a little bit. And I just kept doing that incremental shift up and up. And that's really how I built back my strength and stamina. Because for a lot of people, the yo-yo workouts, like the weekend warrior, I'm going to work out really hard and then we just crash. That doesn't feel good on our body. Like we know that that's not going to be beneficial. So this kind of slower step up approach, so much more powerful and sustainable.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And then, something that's similar but different is people who do the same workout all the time and they've been doing it for years.
Yes.
Maybe even decades.
I want to touch upon that for a moment because I actually recently read a book. It was in the past year, and it was someone who's advocating you just do like these 10 exercises every single day and you are good for the rest of your life. And I thought, no, let's not do that. Like maybe those 10 exercises for a period of time, but any movement that we do, it will turn into a repetitive movement. I mean, with only 10 exercises, I think that we can stick with that maybe for a short period of time, but we do want to have some change. And actually that change, once people get familiar with it, increases motivation. Because for a lot of people, like when you just think about, okay, I'm going to eat the same 10 foods for the rest of my life, we wouldn't want to do that. So why would we want to do that with our movement routine? So again, it's focusing on that balance of what are we really enjoying? And if someone is doing something very repetitive, like walking or cycling, it's looking at then how can we round out that program a little bit so that it complements that cycling or walking or whatever routine they're currently doing. So it really is beneficial for our overall body.
Yeah. No, and that makes perfect sense. Yeah. I would definitely agree. Well, I think we're probably out of time. We have just discussed all at least a good portion. I'm sure we didn't touch on everything, but I think enough for people to get a feel for what you and your programs are, and your viewpoint, I guess, isn't exactly the right word, but and whether they resonate with what you're talking about. But I still think everything you talked about is good information for everyone, no matter what they're doing.
Exactly. And here's my number one recommendation that we can end on, perhaps, is if people didn't resonate with me or my message, go find someone else, another Pilates teacher, someone else in movement, because there are different personalities when it comes to how we approach physical fitness. And we want the one that seems like it's just perfect for us. And it's really motivating for us, not discouraging, but just really in alignment. So I always encourage people, give new teachers a try, give a new movement system, whether Pilates or something else, a try, and maybe give it 3 chances. That's my recommendation. When you go in for a live session, or even maybe you press play on a video, maybe that particular class was like, I don't really know. It could be because it was new. It could be because the teacher had an off day. You just don't like that type of movement. So try another class with that same teacher and see. And maybe there's a shift and you're like, yeah, actually, I really do like that experience. Or maybe it's time to move on to someone else. But I always encourage people, just focus on what lights you up so that you can really live your very best and energetic life.
For sure. Okay. And let's not forget to tell them where people can find you.
The easiest way to find me is at trifectapilates.com. There you'll get information of how you can move with me on YouTube if you want, or within the membership and app.
Okay. trifectapilates.com. Great.
Yep.
So thank you very much for coming on. And I will say what I always say at the end of this is that this is not to be seen as medical advice. And if you are having any kind of medical issues, please go and see your own doctor and get it taken care of. And that's it. And I will see everybody else next week.
This has been Healthy Tips After 50 with Susan Rosen. To stay on the cutting edge of the most effective health strategies, subscribe to this podcast and let us know what you thought of the show with a comment or like on iTunes. Visit healthytipsafter50.com for this episode's show notes, more resources, and free offers.